A game of chess is like a sword fight. You must think first, right? Before you move.
Special technique of shadow boxing. Special technique of shadow boxing. Shadow boxing. Shadow boxing.
Hey man, so just wanted to welcome everybody to the Javi Trujillo podcast. My guest on today is my very good friend, my former head coach and training partner, Tommy Hayden, dude. And yeah, man, I just welcome to the show, bro. How you been?
Yeah, bro. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, dude.
Back in the States, so we're on opposite ends of the earth, man. Can't wait till you can get back here.
I know, dude. I mean, hopefully the band ends at the end of June, and I can try and get back. That's kind of the goal: try and save up some money and get back to the second home, man. But I mean, it's been nice being back in America, dude. It's kind of getting in touch with the roots, but definitely, dude, I miss I miss the Thai family, bro. I miss all you guys for sure. But dude, I just wanted because I mean, travel. You're also like an expat. You know, we went and traveled to Thailand, and then I mean, I don't know. I guess around that time when we all started training, the MMA scene kind of started to become a thing in Thailand and in Bangkok, and we were kind of like the OGs of it, bro. We were like kind of at the forefront of it, and kind of brought the scene up. I felt, and you know. It was kind of fun working with you because I felt like being coached by you and training with you. You know, you were probably you're probably like the highest level guy that I trained with. You know, you made it to the UFC, you fought in the UFC, and man, I just wanted to, and I learned a lot, not just techniques, not just about fighting, but about life, bro. And I always thank you for that because, in good times and bad times, you were always a guy that was there for me. And, where I felt like a lot of times in this game that, a lot of people like to play politics and this and that. And everybody likes to, I always say this about you, bro. It's like everybody tells it how it might be and you tell it how it is. And that's what I always loved about you, bro. And,
well, sometimes telling it like it is gets me in trouble.
Hey, but somebody got to do it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's thinking it, and you were always the guy that wanted it, that ended up saying it, and that's why I always loved you because you didn't change, and that's why that's why you'll always be my boy, bro. But
for sure.
Yeah, man, and dude, and what I love most, and I think what we clicked on is because we both, well, not only that we were Americans, but like we both kind of came from a wrestling background. And I mean, you wrestled at a high level. And are you from Ohio or
Ohio.
Idaho? Yeah, I mean,
Ohio.
bro, that's the heart of American wrestling, man. That's it, dude. So like, when did you start wrestling and get involved with that? Like, you were a kid or what?
Yeah, well, when I moved to Ohio, my dad kind of was like, all right, you're interested in soccer, but let's find you something to do over the winter time. And I'm, vertically challenged. So he's like, all right, let's put you into wrestling.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that started. And I ended up really loving wrestling. And by the time, after my freshman year in high school on the soccer team, I went to wrestling, and I was like, never again. This is my sport now. Cause I loved the fact that it was me versus one other person.
Right.
And it was like us going at each other, and whoever won. And there was nobody on the team. There was nobody to say you did this wrong because of this happening.
Somebody fumbled the ball, or this jackass was looking off in the space. You couldn't blame it on somebody else. If you got your ass whooped in a match, it was your fault.
You got your ass whooped.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you're the only one that can fix it. And so that's what I learned from wrestling too. It's like, yeah, there was that team aspect with the duels and the meets, obviously getting the points. But that was the beauty of wrestling. Is like your team could suck dick, but you could be the greatest wrestler anyways,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I loved about it. And so when you were wrestling, man, like when so like how like what was it like going to like your like high school and all that stuff? Like I mean, it's obviously you're in the heartland in the Midwest. That's like it's like God country, you know, country in wrestling, bro. Like
Well,
obviously you must have been competing at the highest level with some of these guys, right?
well, my freshman year, we were ranked, I think number 6 in the nation.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that was like, I mean, the guys on that team were just incredible. And most of them graduated out. And then we filled it in my sophomore year. And I think we dropped off the national rankings that year, but by my junior year, we were back in the top 25 in the nation.
Nice.
And so we basically competed consistently out of state and traveling and going to like either dual meet tournaments or regular tournaments that were ranked in, you know, the top 20 in the nation. So we went to just we went to fuck shit up or get fucked up. I mean, that's what it was, you know, like that's who we were facing off against. And then like the weekends that we did have in town where we had like home meets where like there was like the city meet, the city big tournament, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then there were a couple like division tournaments and then like a couple dual meets we had to do with rival schools that, you know, just normal stuff.
Right. And then did you end up going to college to wrestle as well? I'm trying to remember now. Like
No, actually Title IX destroyed that for me.
oh dude.
I was like, well, this is cool.
Oh no.
So I went to Miami University and I ended up joining the wrestling team there.
Uh-huh.
And that was my freshman year. Like I moved out of high school with my high school sweetheart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we lived off campus together and you know, a couple 19-year-olds basically. And I wrestled my freshman year with the team.
Uh-huh.
And then the next year I wanted to move in with them because they had a house on campus and they're like, yeah, move in with us. It'd be fucking awesome. You and Crystal, my girlfriend at the time, can stay. And I was like, cool. So I started kind of pushing this and I don't know, I guess maybe she didn't like that or something, but our relationship started going like way downhill and she started, yeah, just being weird about stuff. So I ended up breaking up with her and I had to figure out something to focus my time on. And right now it was like the university just got out for holiday. So it's like May or something like that.
Right.
For summer. So I'm like, well, shit, what can I do? And I had gotten my first tattoo, this one. I'd gotten my first tattoo as a birthday present. And I met this guy there that was interested or that talked to me about MMA. Like he was smoking outside. He was friends with the tattoo shop owner.
Mm-hmm.
And I just talked to him because the tattoo, the artist that was working on me, he was like, yo, you're a wrestler. This guy does some stuff like that. So
Right.
we started talking. Well, I had this guy's number and like a few months later, I hit him up like, hey, I'm interested in coming to train. And that was like kind of my like step into MMA was just like an escape from emotional pain. I was like, well, shit, I don't want to think about this all the time. And the best way for me to like not think about things is to just exercise, to do something.
Dude, that's fucking crazy, man. Because that's how I ended up getting into MMA too, dude, in high school. No shit. I was there. I don't know. I don't want to say the girl's name. She actually hit me up not too long ago, asking how I've been. Heard I was back stateside, but yeah, my high school like sweetheart or whatever. My freshman year, I don't know if she messed around or with an older dude or whatever, but she ended up dumping me, and I was fucking heartbroken. This is before I even knew anything, and then all of a sudden I remembered I'm just feeling bad for myself. And at the time, we were living with my grandfather because we had just moved up to Northern Nevada maybe like a year and a half earlier. And so like we were just staying with him until my mom could get back on her feet. And break up with this girl, I'm feeling bad for myself. And then on the TV, it's like it was Spike TV. and that's when they were showing the free UFC fights, right?
All right, yeah.
And then I'm like saying that I saw my first fucking ever MMA fight, and I was like, dude, this is fucking crazy. And then all of a sudden, I just became a fan and became obsessed with it, and then that's how that's how I got involved in wrestling, because that's when I started recognizing right away.
You saw grappling was king, yeah.
I saw that more than importantly, I thought like jiu-jitsu was the shit. Like, okay, all these jiu-jitsu guys, like they're fucking whooping ass and this and that, or the Muay Thai guys are looking sick. And then I saw Randy Couture versus Tim Sylvia. And I was like, there's no way that this little tiny, or I mean, Randy Couture is a giant, but compared to Tim, he looks,
yes.
I was like, there's no way that this guy, and he just wrestled and just beat the shit out of this guy. At that moment, I was like, I got to wrestle. I don't know. And that's when I joined my high school wrestling team, man. And wrestling for the same thing was it, because I had to have so much focus. And it was the first time I had to learn how to cut weight and how to understand my body and see how I worked, and you know how far I could push my mind. That the same thing, it took my mind off the heartbreak, you know. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. And then my wrestling coach is like, hey, bro, I know a black belt in Carson City. If you're still serious about getting into this fighting thing after my senior wrestling season was done. And that's just kind of how it got started, man.
Nice. That's badass.
Yeah. But so dude, you meet this guy in Miami and you hit him up. And so like, so then
I went into the gym at the time. You know, we were on break, so I was staying at my parents', and I was like, all right, well, I can just drive to this gym each day. So I got into it, and I walked in, and they took me in and started training me. You know, they just started trying to teach me boxing, which I sucked at. And then they realized during sparring that I always would switch my stance to southpaw before I shot.
Right.
And I always took everyone down because, like, dude, when I came out of like high school wrestling, I was disgustingly like cock diesel strong. It was freaking nuts. Like, think about this. I was deadlifting. I was repping sets of 405 for 8 times, and I was walking around at like 145 pounds.
Fuck, bro. But like, I mean, when we were wrestling in Nevada, we always like found the hardest time with like the guys from Eastern, because they're like farm boys. Like, did you grow up like fucking just doing like heavy work all the time? Because like I always just noticed, it's like, damn, some of these white boys are strong as fuck, bro.
Yeah, we had that farm boy strength.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, dude, and that's legit. Like, I never had that because I didn't grow up like that, but I did grow up out in the woods running around being a monkey.
Yeah, dude.
So, like, I didn't have like the city kid. Dude, I feel bad for like kids in Bangkok, for instance.
They're so soft.
Dude, they're so soft. Like, I mean, to the touch, like you like
a marshmallow, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's just like, oh God, dude, you got to do something. You got to do something. So like, that's what I loved being a kid, like out in, you know, suburbia, I guess. My parents were like, go outside and play and don't come home. And I'm like, all right, see ya.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, like that's why when we made, I mean, that's funny because when we made the move from San Diego, dude, because we were like in a densely populated area, I didn't really go outside. And at a certain point, I didn't really go outside and play too much. And I was overweight and fat. So it wasn't until I found MMA and wrestling that I finally figured out how to fucking manage my weight, you know? But yeah, I was one of them soft little motherfuckers, bro.
Dude, it's that city life, man. I really think it just like, it's that condensed packed space. It just
does something, good. Man. It does something, bro. But, so then, dude, like when did you, I mean, because were there amateur fights then, or did you just go straight pro?
No. I started as an amateur, but here's the thing. When I started MMA, I think my first fight was in 2005. Yeah. And the only difference between the UFC and the places, we'll call them places that I fought in, was that the time limit was 3 minutes instead of 5. Elbows, everything.
Allowed.
All the things. Yeah, all the things. So we were fighting with every single weapon until like, I think my last amateur fight, they took elbows away from me.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, fuck this. So then after that, I went pro.
Shit, dude. Yeah, that's funny, man, because yeah, I guess I took my first amateur fight in 2008, right after I graduated high school. I linked up with this guy. I don't know if you know him. He fought in UFC 22. The guy's name was Lowell Anderson. He's a Fabio Santos black belt. But anyway, so I linked up with this guy and I took my first amateur fight. But yeah, they didn't allow elbows or knees to the head. And then when I moved out to Northern Cali, I was fighting in they call it the Gold Country Casino. And that's where like the Diaz brothers and all those guys started taking fights. What's
the name of that organization? I think I know it. Isn't it called like something? It's like something like King Palace, right?
Yes, dude. It's fucking escaping me right now too.
But I'm pretty positive I know the exact organization you're talking about.
And then so for the rest of our fights, because we're fighting on an Indian reservation, the promoter basically said to all of us amateurs, it was like, so all you guys are knees, elbows, and everything are allowed. But we're like, I wasn't getting paid, bro. That we were even getting ticket sales. It was like $100.
Oh shit.
Yeah, dude. And then so we're like sitting there and like, he's explaining the rules and he's like, well, we're prepping you guys for the pros, but you're not going to pay us like pros. Well, you're here for the experience. I was like, okay, dude.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy, bro. So then how many pro fights before like you ended up getting onto the Ultimate Fighter or
I was 4-0, I think, when they put me on the Ultimate Fighter.
No. What season was that again? Was it
season 9, US versus UK? I think it was season 9.
Is that Bisping?
Yeah, it was Bisping and Henderson.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
So then
it's like the beginning of their rivalry.
Oh, Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to put every 4th of July to all my UK friends is just like fucking Bisping getting KO'd. We're in like a powdered wig and a red coat. Say Happy Treason Day, bro. Every year, dude, I post that out to him. But so it was to get into the house, right? It wasn't to get onto the show.
Well, yeah, no, I had to fight to get into the house at that time.
Uh-huh.
And dude, I don't know. It's been something about me that like every big fight I've had, I feel like I choke in it at some point. But I'm fighting this guy named Dustin Neese, and I'm beating the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
We come out for second round, beating the shit out of him again. And then like out of nowhere, I get too high and he shucks me off his back and comes up and takes my back. And I went into like wrestling mode somehow and like posted to like stand up.
Oh,
and just goes like, fuck you, idiot. And chokes me out. I was like, God dang it. Oh no.
Oh no, dude. And then, so then that was to get into the house, and then you didn't get in, right? And then I remember you were telling me the story, like you were working as a waiter, right? And they called you up.
A few years later, I think at this point I was 6 or 7-0, or maybe 8-0. I can't remember. But a few years later, or I can't even say that. Yeah, a while later, after I graduated university, I told my parents, I was like, look, guys, because they were bothering me about fighting. They're like, when are you gonna just like get a real job? Because like when
I hear that all day, dude.
Right? When I first started fighting, I was like, hey guys, I want to do this. I want to try it as a hobby. And I actually told my mom, I was like, you can either let me fight or I can join the military. And she was like, you can fight. I was like, okay. So I gave them 2 options and they chose fighting. But so I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do this as a hobby, just kind of joke around with it, see how it works. Then I got pretty good and people were telling me I was pretty good. And I was like just smashing through everybody and on the local circuit, just crushing people. And so I went to George Gurgel's gym, and that was when I took my first pro fight. And like when I went there, Rich Franklin was the champion at the time, so we were training with him, and like I mean, I walked into a room of like 20 like tatted up, mean looking motherfuckers. And then there's like little skinny me walking around at like 145 pounds, like 66 kgs.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I mean, Rich Franklin, I mean, fuck, dude, he's gigantic. Like
Yeah.
that fucking
Yeah.
he's fucking
Yeah. So like I I went in and I eventually found my place in there with them. And that became like, they really became the ones who honed my skill and took me to the next level.
right.
So like Tom, my original coach, like he was so great to have as a coach in the beginning, because had I gone to Georgia's right away, I probably would have slipped through the cracks. You know, I was a guy with zero striking. All I had was wrestling, and I got choked a lot because I led with my head too much in guard.
Right.
You know, like all I could do is take people down.
Right.
Which like my third time sparring at Georgia's, they were Rich was getting ready for, I think, Nate Corey or something. He was getting ready for someone, and they were like, we need a wrestler, and nobody else was wrestlers in there. And I was like, I'm a wrestler. They're like, no, we need a bigger wrestler. We need somebody to wrestle Rich. We need to take, get wrestlers on him and take him down. I was like, I can do it.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, kid, go on in there. All you have to do is take him down.
Bro,
So
it's like Vision Quest, bro.
Dude, it was. It was. I went in.
It's just like Vision Quest.
And I just freaking like boom, boom, like 5 times in one round. It was the best feeling I've ever had.
Oh shit, dude!
As soon as I left the gym that day, my drive home, I was calling everyone.
Just
I just took down Rich Franklin.
Yeah, dude.
It was the best feeling ever. But yeah, like that team is the team that brought me up and like kind of got me to where I was in the MMA community. Cause like, dude, this is something different that I've found about our community that I like more than any job I've ever had, or the people associated with such jobs, like the communities within the jobs. Like MMA is so real, because anytime there's been a fight, it's like, okay, well, let's settle our fight. We can handle this. We can talk about it, or we can hit each other. Exactly. And we typically choose to hit each other, and that's okay.
And
because it's understanding.
Yeah.
It's a very easy understanding of like, well, if you fuck up too much, I'm going to hit you. And it's simple. The rules are very clear.
Yeah, man. I mean, exactly, dude. Like that's what I love about it. It's like, I explain to people what I love about it so much is that I can know somebody's character and understand who they are by sparring with them for 5 minutes than I can having a 2-hour conversation with them. Yes, I know exactly who, how they meet with adversity, how they deal with loss, how they deal with when they're winning, I've been with some guys where they see you hurt and they just pounce on you and they find enjoyment in seeing you when you're weak, fucking hell, particularly I miss all those Dagestani motherfuckers. Those guys were the perfect example of that. It's like, don't show them it hurt, bro. Don't show them it hurt. They'll break you. But yeah, man, it's real, remember we used to always make that joke is like, it's like, oh, friends. Oh, you mean your sparring partners? Yep.
Yeah. Well, because it's too easy to understand each other.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I always have a good policy now. It's like, I never trust a man I never punched in the face.
Right. I love it when people like speak out against physical violence, and I'm like, have you ever been in a fight? They're like, no. Shut your mouth. If I can't talk about like somebody else's experience because I haven't lived it, then people should not be able to talk about fighting as an experience if they have not lived it.
Exactly, man. And I feel like, for me, what now that I've gotten a little bit older and I've kind of, I want to say like a veteran status, this will be my 13th year training,
That's a long ass time, bro.
Yeah. And I finally feel, I'm about to be 30, so I'm about to hit my stride in my weight class and stuff like that. But it's like, I feel like something about what I've learned from fighting is that Like once you kind of understand that violent side of you, that intention to hurt people, it's like, well, you know, a man like you're saying, like people get upset, like, oh, why would you use violence? It's like, well, listen, if you don't exercise that and know that you have that capability within you, and you don't know how to control it, you know, a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very violent man who has that under control, you know.
Yes.
And that's why that's why I trusted you and Paul and everybody else way more than anybody else. I mean, because us living in Bangkok, bro, you know, we meet all these characters that are outside of our MMA community that, you know, basically put up these facades, and it's very easy in Thailand to pretend to be whatever you want, you know. And and that was the thing that I loved about it, is like, okay, you know, I knew that I could always trust you guys because y'all real motherfuckers. I know what you're capable of. And I respected it. Like all the days when we would spar, bro, like when we'd have shootouts, and it's just like, maybe we should take it light today, dude. I'm not feeling it. Like, fair enough, bro. Fair enough. I'm still a little fucked up, dude. Yeah, man. But yeah, like you were saying, dude, it's like once I kind of understood that in myself and understood that side of me, I felt like it like as a person, I feel more complete. As where you see some of these guys, like these douchebags, like Sugar is a good example. Like all these dudes that prop themselves up thinking they're all tough, but it comes down to it, they don't know dick, bro.
It's easy to get on them Mexican supplements over here and fucking work out, and then walk around like you king shit. It's like, all right.
It's all right, bro. Let's see how well those muscles work here in a second, bro.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was the beauty of it. It's like, well, and that's what's cool about fighting, and what I loved about wrestling and jiu-jitsu was that it kind of made me realize that like big muscles and all that stuff don't mean dick, bro. It doesn't mean anything. Size doesn't mean anything. Like I stopped looking at football players and basketball players as these great guys. It's like, bro, you ain't shit when you're on your back, dog.
Yeah. I mean, that's my thoughts too. Is like, okay, give me a person, and if they can stop me from putting them on the ground, then maybe they can win. But if they can't, they're pretty fucked.
Yeah.
That's
shit,
it,
dude. Yeah, man. I mean, that was the thing. Fucking for real. Grappling in particular definitely showed me there's more than size and genetics and whatever. It's it's what you know.
That's what I like about wrestling, is it puts the emphasis on that like fuck you power versus power dynamic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that like, I mean, you're just going full bore for 2 freaking minutes, man.
You're overpowering the other guy to hold him on his back.
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's see who wants to put up with more shit longer. I'm willing to suffer longer more than you, and I'm gonna put you in more pain than I possibly can.
Yep.
You know, and I think that's just and even in martial arts, dude. Like I mean, that's why like I always just clicked with all the wrestlers, because there's a type of suffering that nobody, like the Muay Thai guys, the boxer guys, and the jiu-jitsu guys they just don't know. You just had to have gone through it, you know? And like every time I meet another wrestler, it's like, you know what I'm talking about. You know, it's like, yeah,
our coaches do different shit to us.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely got, when I was wrestling in high school, I still think that was by far, besides doing a camp with your ass, that was besides like probably the hardest days of my life. And I've done all sorts of shit, firefighting and being a hot shot. And still to this day, I was like, well, it's better than starving and doing blast doubles for an hour to try and lose weight in a fucking plastic garbage bag.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. But hey, bro, so to get back to it, so then you get the call from the UFC, right?
Mm. And so I'm waiting tables, and I get the call, and I'm like, you know, it's my manager, and he's like, what are you doing next weekend? And I was like, waiting tables, man. He goes, how about you come down to Tennessee and fight in the UFC? I was like, shit, what? He's like, yeah, UFC on FX1, come on down. I'm like, all right. He goes, do you care who you're fighting? I was like, nope. He goes, do you care what weight class? I go, nope. He goes, all right, well, this guy's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champ, and it's at 155. But don't worry.
That's Fabricio, yeah?
Yeah.
Bro, that guy used to be my coach when I was in San Diego. I watched your fight, bro.
Yeah, so he fucking so they sent me out, and my manager's like, I negotiated a guaranteed 2 fights at 145 your weight. And I was like, okay. He goes, so it doesn't matter what happens with this, go out, have fun, try and kill the guy.
Yeah, this is you're in, right? This is
he's like, yeah, you're in. I'm like, cool, fuck it. I went out, no problems at all. And yeah, no problems at all. And I was striking with him, dropping
I was about to say, I remember the fight because he ran the jiu-jitsu program at Victory MMA at Dean Lister's gym at the time. So we got a group of people who were watching the fight, and you were piecing them up on the feet pretty well for most of the fight. And then
I took him down, elbowed him once, I think, stood up, like I was doing fine. Then what happened is one time I took him down, I went to stand up, and he sucker swept me. Like, how the fuck, of all fucking things, he sucker sweeps me. And I remember so vividly, like, getting sucker swept and then, like, hitting and trying to post and just seeing this man leap. just a fucking man leap at my face. And I was like, oh, this is happening. So he ends up, we get in a scramble, and you know, again, wrestling kicks back in. I go to my knees, and I want to try and fight. And he choked the fuck out of me, and ended up fucking up my lower back for a long time.
Oh no, dude.
Yeah, but yeah, dude, he ends up, choking the fuck out of me. You know, the funny part about all of my losses, except for the last, they were all to jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And honestly, until after I was a blue belt when I was in the UFC, but I never really focused on jiu-jitsu. And it wasn't until after the UFC. Hold on one second.
Yeah, no worries.
Baby, have a great day at work, okay? I have to drop you by. No, just here, take my key card and use that and just throw it in my mailbox. And I'll go downstairs later.
What's the number of your mailbox?
1006. All right. Have a good day. All right. Sorry about that.
No worries, dude. So you were saying that you had your blue belt, and then it wasn't until after the UFC you kind of started taking jiu-jitsu.
I focused on jiu-jitsu. And when I started focusing on jiu-jitsu, like, I excelled really fast. What? I'm going to walk down the stairs. It's cool with me. You know I like the stairs. Dude, sorry, as a weird aside, do you ever listen to Adam Sandler when he was doing like his comedy routines, like on CDs?
Oh yeah, like the songs, like fucking like a shitty car, piece of shit car.
Yes. Well, in one of his skits, there's a fat person that likes the stairs. I'm sorry, but I like the stairs. Sorry, it flashed back. Anyways, so
those albums were gold, bro. I missed that shit, dude.
Yeah, they were good.
I used to have that on a mixtape where I'd have that piece of shit car just on like a fucking.
It was such a good song.
Yeah, dude.
Oh fuck. But yeah, so I didn't focus on my jiu-jitsu till after the UFC, and basically when I did, I started really excelling. I started tapping everybody out in tournaments, like. Because my coach was eventually told me, like, you can only tap people out. That's the only way I'll accept a win from you. Because every time he told me, go to the tournament, win.
Right.
I'll go grab somebody, put them on their back, and hold them there and
change points, bro.
Yeah. I win, coach. Don't worry. I did good.
That's what I did in my first tournaments, too, though, when I was all wipeout. Just blast double dudes. Either hang out in their guard or the most of the time while they fucking just try and do some shitty ass fucking armbar triangle setup and then pass them and just hold. That's all. Yeah.
Yes. So that's what ended up happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, then I eventually got to where, yeah, I'm brown belt now, and I focus a lot more on jujitsu. So I feel like at this point, actually, probably striking, I guess, would be my weakest area right now,
Yeah.
just because I haven't been practicing at it that much.
Really? Yeah, it's been opposite for me, man. Like since I took that bare knuckle boxing fight, bro. That's all I've been focusing on.
Are you gonna do more bare knuckle boxing?
I want to do, bro. I got to fight for a fucking championship. You know, like,
Yeah.
come on, how many people are gonna say that I fought for the super middleweight championship on a fucking 4-week notice? They're like, can you fucking do it? I was like, absolutely. So then I went and found Jim. Fucking went and talked to a couple of my boys that I knew there, and you know, I worked with one guy named Joby who helped out what's his name, the fucking the English fighter, the black guy. That's
Oh yeah, he's coming up, man.
yeah, you
That's
know,
actually Paul's buddies with him.
yeah, that
Not,
fella.
I mean, boxing Paul.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the guy's name now.
yeah, he's in the UFC right now.
Yeah, all those guys, they introduced me to this boxing coach, so I worked with him. Really polished up my hands, but obviously it wasn't enough time, and I was used to clinching. And in the BKB rule set, they don't allow clinching. It's more like traditional boxing style.
Okay.
So fucking that kind of threw me up for a loop. But yeah, for like the last, I mean, 4.5 months, bro, that's all I've been doing is just working my hands. And like I'm kind of excited, at least for MMA, once I get back in there and have the takedowns. I'm excited to see what my boxing can do. But fuck it, bro. I had to try. Whatever. I mean, I got one fucking scar from it.
That's
Is
not
what it
bad.
is. You
Yeah.
know, gave the guy a good fight and got drunk afterwards, and you know, at least all the pikeys like me, all the gypsies and stuff.
How'd your hands feel after that?
Dude, my right, I thought my left hand would be messed up. It was just my right hand. My two right knuckles were swollen for like 2 or 3 weeks. It was kind of hard to clench a fist, but nothing was broken.
Okay.
And that was the thing I was really scared of, was like, okay, like,
Breaking your hand.
whoa, breaking your hand.
You're not hitting as hard, right?
The trick that so then I went and trained with these guys in Birmingham. They're called the Connolly brothers. There's the older brother who's the coach, Mitchell, and then the younger brother is James, and he's like the BKB guy. He fought 4 times in BKB. And so I went with them to train just to see what they were doing, and they're just training traditional boxing. And then that's all they said they were doing, but it was just fundamentals and footwork, straight shots and footworks, just trying to set up tracks, hit and not get hit. That was the goal that they told me to do. But what they said about when you're winding up, they're like, oh, just always keep your hands. You should be able to always see your hands in front of you when you're throwing, because if you wind up too much, that's when you're going to break your hand. They said. So just always keep your hands in front of you the whole time, and you won't break your hands that way. And yeah, it's true,
Okay.
you know.
So yeah, you're at that,
always
like, fighting Irish kind of stance.
You have to, because you got to protect your body a little bit more, you know.
Yeah.
And that shit, that's what hurt more than anything, really.
Body shots.
When I got hit in the head, I didn't feel it that much, and I think it was just the adrenaline and all that, and that's what I was nervous about. But once I got hit the first time, I was like, you know what, this is not that bad. It was when he hit me with a body shot and I could feel his knuckles pierced. That's when it fucking hurt. That's really what it hurt. But when I hit him, once I got hit and I was like, okay, this is not that bad, and I hit him, and I was like, all right, I'm having fun. And the next thing you know, they call the fight because of the fucking cut.
Shit.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, that's the one bad part about that bare knuckle stuff is, like, every time I see one, like a fight, people are just lacerations all over their face.
Yeah, but that's why I wanted to go train with James, because he was the only guy that I hadn't really seen cut up. And that's why he's like, oh, mate, you just got to fucking work on the fundamentals, just setting up feints and setting up traps, and that's how you're not going to get cut, you know? And, I mean, I thought about it this way. I took the experiences like, okay, when I get back into MMA where I have the smaller gloves and now my hands are prepped and I know how to do this, I'm just going to be better in my sport, you know. All this training can do nothing but help me prepare. Like, I've wrestled and done jiu-jitsu majority of my life. That's my strength. And now I finally am forced to work on the aspect that terrifies me the most, which was always striking, you know?
Yeah.
So that was the benefit of that. And I got to fight at the London O2, bro. Everybody says, dude, like, you got to fight in the biggest stadium in the UK.
That's cool.
So fuck it, man. But
Yeah.
I just want to do it once. If I had a full 8-week camp, I think I could fight at my weight class, because I fought up at 88 kg, and I gotta stop doing that, bro. Because I started realizing all my losses are come when I go up a weight class. That's the only time I lose. 77 or anything like lower, I don't lose. But so it's just like,
stick to your weight, man.
Yeah. So
what are you walking at right now?
Fucking 86 kg right now.
All right, I'm at 80 right now. I'm not too far behind you.
Nah, I've been trying and stay in shape, at least fasting. You know, if I can't be fucking moving around too much, at least I won't eat for most of the day and just eat in the evening time. But yeah, man, it was an interesting experience. You know, I'm excited just to get back into MMA and just kind of show what I've learned with my hands. But yeah, dude. And then I don't know, man. I don't know if you got a bounce or whatever, but I'm probably yeah. But anyways, dude, like, yeah, it was a cool experience. I definitely want to do it one more time at least, just to show that I know I could if I dedicated a full camp and full focus, I could fuck up somebody, I think. Yeah. I took that shit on short notice and fought their champ right away. So
yeah.
And you know what, bro? The pay was a lot more than any MMA fight I ever made. I'll tell you that.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Fucking, if I would have won it, it was 3,000 pounds. I don't know what that is in US dollars, like 3,500, I think, or something roughly.
I don't know.
Yeah. And just to show up was 1,500 pounds plus like if we sold ticket sales and whatever. And then I had a few sponsors. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, made more than any other professional MMA fight I ever did. And the exposure is huge. Exposure is huge. They get millions of views, bro. So
yeah, I mean, shit's bloody as fuck.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But you know how, like, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get into trouble for mentioning people like one, but you know how, like, they're just like trying to make it this combat sport and make it nice. It was like I was getting mad because it's like, bro, it's MMA. You're fighting in a cage. Like, there's nothing churchy about this. Like, don't make it into soccer or don't make it into fucking baseball. This is fighting. Like, don't church up my sport, bro.
Yeah.
And so that's
what happens when businessmen who are not real fighters, like, that's what happens when businessmen get into the mix.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's like, well, it can appeal to a wider demographic if we do this.
And it's like, I don't want it to. I don't want it
like,
to.
that's not the sport. That's not the sport.
Yeah,
it's the bastardized version of it.
Yeah, it's just like, well, not just them, and I feel at times, like now with the UFC, you know, getting bought out by this new whatever media company or whatever, it's like the sport, it felt like for a while it was like, okay, we're trying to find out who the biggest badass on the fucking planet is right now at all these weight classes. No one gives a fuck if you can talk. Nobody wants to see. We just want to see who the baddest motherfucker is. Yes. Whose style is fucking king. And then at some point, I don't know if, like, I think around 2012, I think the sport changed the moment McGregor KO'd Aldo. You know, I felt like that's when, like, mainstream and, like, all these Conor McGregor copycats just started coming out of the woodwork and kind of just made the sport from it being real motherfuckers to kind of being like pro wrestling. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I don't particularly care for that either. Like, I mean, I talk a fair amount of shit about things, like, and I don't mind. I'll say the same shit to the person's face that I'll say, you know, to somebody else about them.
Right.
I don't care. But that's because, like, but I don't go out of my way to make shit up, you know? Yeah. Like, I'm not a social media guy that wants to be out there and, like, fighting with somebody on social media. Like, I have a life and my own shit to do. So to just act like an asshole is not, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's not appealing to me.
Yeah, and just like fake clout, dude. And it's like all these guys almost like trying to come. I don't know, because like growing up in San Diego and like we coming from the streets originally, when I see like a lot of these fake gangster type dudes in the game, and it's like, bro, what are you doing, dude? Like just be yourself, homie. Like you're why are you trying to pretend to be this thug, or you see all these guys trying to be like a McGregor, and it's just like the beauty of the sport is that, like we were saying, you got to know a person by the way they fought. Like that's what I loved about MMA, was I can see somebody's upbringing, I can see somebody's culture, I can see somebody's neighborhood, state, country background by the way they fight, and there's no lying. There's no lying. I see who you are.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it. And I feel sometimes certain organizations are trying to take that away and fit in their mold,
Well, yeah. Yep. Some people, I mean, I don't know. Some people want an orange to be an apple, but an orange is an orange.
Fuck yeah, man. You're damn right, dude. You're damn right. But I don't know, Tommy. I mean, I won't take up too much of your time, but like before I end, bro, I love the shit out of you, and I fucking miss you, man. And like during all this like COVID shit, and when we were on lockdown for the last couple months, and I got a lot of time to reflect, and like, bro, you taught me a lot of lessons about life, not just about the fight game, but about life. And I've noticed the people that listen to the podcast already, they're younger guys that are interested in fighting and want to be fighters themselves. And this game that we play, bro, when the highs are high and the lows are lows, dude.
Yep.
It fucking sucks ass. But through all that, you got to learn resilience. And there's going to be doubters, there's going to be haters, there's going to be all these people. Like, what got you through those moments, man? And of like when you had your back against the wall and you try to make this work, like, is there anything anybody told you, or is there anything that you kind of did that kind of kept you on course? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I grew up wrestling for a pretty hardcore team. So I was already used to missing parties. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like I didn't have a problem with, while being in university, knowing I had a fight to get ready for and not partying. I had no problem with that, because I was like, fuck it, I'm going to stay in my room and play World of Warcraft or StarCraft or something, some nerdy computer game. And so like when I wasn't fighting, I was very rarely on the computer and always out partying, so like
Right.
I got my mix in. But if you're young and you really want something, like the sacrifice, how much are you willing to sacrifice for that thing? Because if you want to succeed, you need to be willing to sacrifice everything. Like if you really have a dream, you've got to be able to sacrifice everything for your dream,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to, I guess, make a plan, figure out how you'll make your dream come true, and then work the plan.
And then how do you do that? Do you write goals out, or do you?
Well, sometimes I do write goals out in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but most of the time they become like something in my mind, and it's something that it's like a mantra that I'll tell myself over and over and over again, especially when something is shitty. Like, dude, do you remember those conditionings we would do, the 3 5-minute rounds with pull-ups, push-ups, and jump squats?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
remember
remember.
those bastards?
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time that was getting shitty, that we're going through that, I'm sitting there in my mind saying, Will Chope's working harder. And that was it. That was my motivation. That was all that I needed. When I got up at 5 a.m., almost like every day on the weekdays, I got up at 5 a.m. and I would alternate between swimming and running. And the mantra in my mind when I didn't want to get up was, Will Chope is working harder than you. Like, and I mean, I was driving an hour to my school, driving an hour back to the city, getting on the BTS, riding it for 40 minutes just to get to the gym to coach you motherfuckers and get my own ass ready for a fight.
Right.
Right. So we had a bunch of people fighting. So like I had zero social life. Like it was you guys and work, and occasionally, like, I think I was dating a girl at the time, so I would see her, and that was it. And like zero social life. I didn't have time for a social life. I didn't have time to drink. I didn't have time to party. I didn't have time to do that shit because I had a goal. It was to have you guys all win and have me win. And I knew that that was going to be a hard goal because I knew for that fight card, John was like, matching up good close fights. So it's like, all right, well, we got to really get on this. We got to fucking win. We got to show up.
And I mean, didn't we go 4-0 that night too?
Yeah, we did. We smashed everyone.
Yeah, we swept everybody that night. That's right.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, so how much are you willing to sacrifice? Where is your level? Like, how much hard work and dedication do you want to put in? Because we all have 24 hours in a day.
Mm.
If you can't find one to push yourself, if you can't find one, then that's on you.
Sweet, man. Hell yeah. I like that, dude. All right, cool. I always like to end it on like some shit like that, dude, because I end up editing it and like put that as like my little thing, but I fucking like it, bro. I like it. Fucking hell. You gotta be willing to sacrifice, and you gotta willing to fucking know that this motherfucker is working harder than me, so I gotta get my ass up earlier. I gotta put it in. And that must be a wrestler mind state, dude, because I remember in my early days in amateur fighting, that's how I felt. It's like, this guy's working harder than me. This guy's working harder than me. Up to the point where like my body was just broken, but I'd rather be broken and know that I gave it my all than fucking lose and knowing that I half-assed the camp. You know, I can be content with losing, knowing that I gave my all than winning and just being half-assed, because then I don't know, man. But fuck yeah, bro. Sweet, Tommy. Well, sweet, man. I'll fucking end the recording right now. Before you end, let's say if anybody wants to get in contact with you or anything like that, how could they get in contact with you, man?
So sorry.
Yeah, no way.
My Instagram, wildcard_MMA, or Facebook, Tommy Hayden.
All right, right on, man.
Find my fighter page on Facebook or my personal page.
Sick, dude. Well, sweet, bro. Well, thanks for coming on, Tommy, man. Shit was fun. I'll end the recording, bro. And then hold on, let me see that.